In an effort to stimulate progress in the atheist-theist discussion, I beg all believers watching this video to understand me on the following point. I am 100% apathetic of how the universe came to exist. I have no concern for the cosmological events from billions of years ago. I am not a scientist or a historian. The origin of life itself doesn't even concern me, though my surface-scratching studies of fields of cosmology, abiogenesis, and evolution have provided me with what seems like a common-sense understanding of the events that led to us and what and where we are today. I'm no more concerned with that understanding than I am with the events I studied about in my fourth grade social studies classes. It's useful to be well read on, but it does not direct my brain's acceptance or rejection of godly claims. So often when a devout believer learns of my atheism and begins to quasi-debate me, he or she begins with a flurry of impossible questions that nobody could intellectually honestly answer with any true conviction, though they are convinced they know the answers themselves. Granted, I do find it highly unlikely that all the basic information verified by multiple independent disciplines of science which suggest natural origins and modifications of life would just be a massive coincidence. Am I to believe that God would allow these natural scientific explanations to occur for us to see if only we took the time to study and understand them, while still leaving our mere existence in ignorance to the origin thereof as the staple of proof for his existence? If a God does exist as the source of the universe and life itself, then it seems he's doing his best to trick us into not believing in him, especially into not believing in a literal interpretation of the Christian Bible, by littering this planet with evidence that suggests alternative origins and our minds with scientific inquiry and ceaseless curiosity. However, my current tentatively accepted understanding of how the universe and human life came to be are not at the forefront of my disbelief in a deity. Likewise, I would certainly hope that theists don't put their lack of an understanding for our origins at the forefront of their belief in that deity. Even if I had never taken a science class in my life, or read a scientific article for that matter, and someone proposed to me that the universe and humans exist, therefore we must be created by God, I would demand more evidence for their claim before accepting it. This is particularly because the God they are proposing as the creator also happens to be invisible and intangible, which makes its existence not only much harder to believe, but harder to validate as well. Suggesting that just because you don't know for sure how it happened, then my magical God must be the answer, is just an embarrassing false dichotomy that I don't see how anyone takes themselves seriously when presenting. Personally, my concerns are much more in the present day and future than how I arrived here. I'm not an atheist because I know the origin of the universe apart from the proposal of a God. I'm an atheist because I've learned to think past my Christian indoctrination and nobody has provided me with convincing evidence for a God yet. Similarly, I don't believe in Bigfoot. That's not because I can prove that the Patterson footage of 1967 was a hoax or that there's an alternative explanation for it. It's because that footage and every other piece of alleged evidence for Sasquatch has failed to convince me. Having said that, an unconvincing video clip from 1967 is a far stronger piece of evidence for Sasquatch than our mere existence is for God.